I truly feel that copywriters and bloggers and marketers are 85% replaced by generative AI.
Hello and welcome to the Imagine AI Live podcast. Today we have with us Vladimer Batsvadze. How are you doing, Vladimir?
Hi, Chris. It is a delight to connect with you. Many thanks for invitation, and I'm excited to share my actionable insights with your audience today.
Why don't you give us a brief overview of who you are and what your expertise is?
It is a great question. Thank you, Chris. I have more than 15 years of international experience with a proven track record of guiding executives and top brands worldwide to initiate change, drive growth, and position brands as market leaders in their industries. I am regarded as one of the world's top digital transformation and marketing influencers, thought leaders, keynote speakers, mentors, and intent personalities.
It's incredible you've done so much. I mean, I'm just looking through your LinkedIn profile and it's like 50 things.
50 global experiences, right?
What country are you from?
I come from Republic of Georgia, Eastern Europe.
I used to live in France for 4 years and visited much of Eastern Europe, but I did not make it as far as Georgia. How do you use AI in your daily life?
I improve my business efficiency and I reduce costs, so I don't need to hire copywriters, bloggers, marketers. Sam Altman said anyone in marketing and blogging is 95% replaced by generative AI. 90% replaced, Chris. AI is truly coming to take so many marketers' jobs. And the only sustainable competitive advantage, Chris, in this age of AI is building a personal brand, So emotional intelligence is our advantage because you know that IQ is declining in value because of technology. The power has shifted dramatically from Madison Avenue, Wall Street, advertising agencies to human beings. The gatekeepers no longer in control, Chris. Nowadays, everyone has a voice, everyone has a reaction. And the single reason why 62% of Fortune 500 brands have disappeared from their list since 2000 is that they treated social media like traditional marketing. A brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room, I also agree with Henry Ford, who said that if I had asked what my consumers wanted, they would have replied, faster horses. So speed and agility are everything. So those startups that are nimble, agile, open-minded, directly communicate with consumers like Elon Musk of Tesla, Brian Chesky of Airbnb, and Daniel Ek of Spotify. They interested in improving their products in real time. Chris, real time, because there are 8.2 billion people in the world and 5.2 billion social media users. A successful brand is only built on social media because traditional advertising is going away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you that branding is so important and personal branding. And whether you like it or not, your name is a brand. Once you've put yourself out there on the internet, it's a brand. I feel like the social media sites are the gatekeepers now. You do need them to distribute content, to get your message out there, to present your brand.
Chris, exactly, because, many brands are in decline. They are not in growth mode. They are in survival mode because they don't create enough content, Chris, They think that they can depend on advertising, but nobody sees, believes, and trusts those ads because advertising steals our time. So nowadays, consumers expect authentic experiences with global brands. And what are the main lessons anyone can learn from Amazon? The first is being consumer-centric. Second is to reinvent yourself. Third, to be experimental. Fourth is to be patient. And number 5 is to think long-term. But majority of brands think short-term and medium-term. So long-term thinking is very imperative. Active listening. Whether I build my personal brand or they run their startups and multi-billion-dollar businesses, they need to be in a listening business and they need to improve their product based on the feedback on their consumers in real time.
Authenticity, the continual content and having a continual presence. There's so much content being put out there every day now. In order to keep up, you've got to keep putting out. And it's tiring, I feel, for a lot of people. It's overwhelming for a lot of people. I think that AI is helping in a lot of ways, in that AI is allowing people to get ideas and content created out cheaper and out faster. And because of that, they can be more plentiful with their content.
There are 5.2 billion social media users, and if brands enjoy throwing their money into trash, it is their choice, but it takes a lot of commitment and bravery to listen to your consumers online. You need to forget what you studied at business schools, and you need to start building your marketing strategy around your consumers on social media.
I see like original content as kind of the gold of the attention economy. You need original content in order to put stuff out. How do you advise people and brands and companies to produce their content, their original content?
They need to put their eggs into different baskets, but they put all their eggs into one basket. Maybe it is advertising, or maybe it is Facebook. But I think incredible content is being created every single minute. You know that we are in the streaming economy nowadays, Chris. So consumers choose ad-free platforms, like Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, audiobooks. You show no ads in your podcast. It is a great indication. So I think you keep their attention because you don't show any ads on your podcast, but majority of brands still pushing advertising. So nobody believes their ads, and the trust decline in businesses, So I think that brands need to publish maybe 60, 70 pieces of content across 8-10 social media channels every single day. So there are 3.1 billion Facebook users, 2.5 billion YouTube users, 2 billion Instagram users, 2 billion WhatsApp users, 1.7 billion TikTok users, Snapchat 850 million, and X Twitter almost 600 million users. I think nowadays a successful brand is only built on social media, and consumers spend their most of time on TikTok, YouTube, ChatGPT, Amazon Prime, and it is remarkable what is happening. So a person spends like approximately 34 hours per month on TikTok, 34 hours, and 29 hours on YouTube. So video marketing dominates, Chris. So 34 hours on TikTok and 29 hours on YouTube. Video marketing dominates, which is followed by Facebook, 18 hours, WhatsApp, 16 hours, Instagram, 16 hours, and X, Twitter, 5 hours. So a person spends mostly 5 hours per month, So I think it is remarkable what is happening. And as person uses almost 8 platforms in the UAE, 6 platforms in the United States, 6 platforms in the UK, and 6 platforms in Germany per month, each month. And I think nowadays brand consumers discover brands, products, and services, search engines 32%, and word of mouth marketing 30%. So nowadays, Chris, businesses are built on small town roles, small town roles. So word of mouth is very powerful.
You mentioned like people using so many different platforms, and is the strategy that do they need to be on every platform, or should they focus on certain platforms, a platform? You make one piece of content. I mean, how we do things here is make a clip of this podcast. It's this one piece of content. We get it out on like 5 social media platforms,
So Chris, there is only one newsfeed on Facebook, and you are competing for that attention with not only every competitor, but also with everybody in the world, So what does it mean? That it is a marketplace, supply and demand, attention and storytelling. And for brands don't understand what is going on in mobile device, they are out of business.
Where do you see this all going? I think all the trends and things that you've talked about, that totally makes sense. We're being diluted with content all the time. In order to compete in this diluted world, you need to make content and make it daily, make it impactful, try to be authentic. With AI tools, you can make content a lot cheaper and quicker, but you still need a strategy. You still need the follow through. I mean, where do you see all this going?
I think brands need to adapt to the reality of the marketplace, Chris, and they need to forget their excuses. I think it is the only way to be in growth mode nowadays. So I think I love what Jeff Bezos said, that if you double the number of experiments you do per year, you are going to double your inventiveness. And it's all about being down to earth, to be experimental, to be in the listening business, to be consumer-centric, not competitor-centric or boardroom-centric, because the market decides what is good and bad. So if you listen and if you improve your product based on the feedback of your consumer, you will witness considerable success in the long term.
I think that what a lot of companies, and they've got this daunting task of having a social strategy, content strategy. It does cost money. I mean, it requires people. As much as AI tools and AI helps, you still need people. And a lot of times, depending on the company, the ROI is hard to justify. It's hard to measure a lot of times. You can follow views and followers, but are those people going to buy your product? How do you measure that?
I think, Chris, the vast majority of brands measure the ROI incorrectly because I think they are not consumer centric, As I mentioned, that 62% of Fortune 500 brands disappeared since 2000. It means that it is an indication that brands are able to see the handwriting on the wall. So as generative AI advances, I think it is also taking so many people's jobs, and it will drive many brands out of business because only tiny minority of brands use AI for marketing purposes. The vast majority don't use AI because when I was speaking last year at global event, and when I asked my audience how many people were using AI on a daily basis, from 200 people, only 5 people raised their hands,
What scares you most about AI?
It is going to replace so many marketers, Chris, so many marketers. So I think the only way to stand out nowadays is to build your personal brand.
So let's say a company, new brand consultant you work with has $100.
Yes.
What percentage are they placing that money into what categories?
I think they need to position their brand as a media company, start publishing content, to become more curious, to become lifelong learners. It is a golden age of one-on-one marketing, Chris, one-on-one marketing.
I think a lot of this is like overwhelming for people, especially busy people. How do you stay balanced? Are you balanced? Are you always working? Are you always on your phone, your devices?
Just imagine, Chris, that single-mindedness has been the bedrock of my growth. Single-mindedness, So I worked 16 hours a day in the last 19 years. I worked with a vengeance. My efforts have paid off. I'm now in a catbird seat, and I think that my results speak for themselves because I have built my personal brand from my heart.
Well said. Yeah. 16 hours a day. That'll get you someplace. That's for sure.
If you love what you do, you will work 16 hours a day, because what I witness is that vast majority of people don't love what they do. I'm sure 150%. So it's all about to give more than you take. You need to be giver, not a taker. So you need to provide value to your audience. You need to care about your audience. You need to go the extra mile for your followers. I think it is the only key to success,
Definitely. Well, Vladimir, thank you so much. Everyone can follow you on, because you're everywhere, right? Vladimer Batsvadze, thank you for coming on Imagine AI Live podcast.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. And I wish you all the best, my friends.